Good morning. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. There is a wood chipper going across the valley somewhere. Today is Thursday. This week has been a bit hit and miss weather-wise, but yesterday was better, and so I came down the drive and cleared some more of the vegetation off the bank, which I will show you. I didn't film any of that, it's pretty boring, but in preparation really for next steps. The sun is behind me, sorry about the light. I'll show you what I did yesterday. So this is at the top end of the wall, and so I cleared more of this off here. The plan is to put another post in back off this line, so the wall this bit of wall will come along here and then duck into here. But I also wanted to get in and clear some of this. I do have a plan to actually go further down here, but not today. It's actually quite physical stuff, clearing all of this off here and then getting it into the trailer. But I want to get this cleared further down here so that when we start the other wall at the top, not the main wall but the one up by my workshop, that we can put some of the spoil from the digging out and the post holes in behind this wall. But I don't want it to go on top of that vegetation. So sometime over the next few days, a week, I plan to do that, but not today. I need a quieter day today. But so that's what I did yesterday. The plan for today is a little bit undecided, but I am hoping to maybe paint the fence. We will see. I plan to do a couple of other things first, and then we'll see what the energy levels are like before I tackle that. Okay, let's see what happens. While I walk back up the driveway, I have cleared all of this area here. I think you can see the orange line there. That is roughly where the wall is going to go in on this bit. So that is all ready, and also I have cleared all of this over here. I have removed all of the seedling trees that I'm going to keep. These ones here, I don't think we'll keep these kowhais. We'll see. That plan could change, but this is now all ready for Warren to return with his team. Those are some posts and poles that I had. They've been around for a while, and so I water blasted all of those so that they're ready to go. And then the trees that I have potted, I have put them all down in under here in the shade, just so that they have their best chance of surviving for the next month or so, maybe longer even, because some of these may go down the bank, but they're in here in the shade. We can keep them watered. Hopefully they will survive being transplanted into pots. I have decided that today is the day to paint the fence. Hopefully this will be successful. First, I thought I would give you a little bit of a rundown on the sprayer. So this is a sprayer that has been lent to me by one of my neighbours, and it has been used by various tradesmen, or I'll just call them painters rather than tradesmen, because I don't know, along the way. The hose has got a few kinks in it, so I'll sort those out. But first I thought I would give you a bit of a rundown on the handle, spray unit, nozzle, whatever. Here we go. So this is the handpiece. It has a filter, and I've done that up too tight to then easily open it. This is the filter part of it, and in here that's basically just a straight through, which you may be able to see if I get it lined up right. This is the filter. Now there are 3 different coloured filters. This is the red one, and so that pops out so that you can clean it well when you're finished, and that just slots in there. I think the other 2 are white and something else, I can't remember, and then that goes in there, and we'll just give that a little nip because this is obviously the high pressure end. We don't want anything leaking, and then that goes into a handpiece like so, and we'll just give that a little tweak. Now on the end here is this fellow goes on the end, and then this is the nozzle that goes into that. Now this is the 311 nozzle, which can be used with the orange filter. So there are different nozzles for different filters. The red filter covers a reasonable, I think, about 4 or 5 different ones of these, but I'm going to go with this because that's what the neighbour has been using for doing all his walls and things, so I'm assuming it's about right, and it's the one that matches, one of the ones that matches the nozzle that's in there. Unfortunately, there is quite a kink in the hose here right near where it goes into the gun, where somebody hasn't been quite as careful as they could have been. So I'm actually going to try and just push that out a little bit, try and get it back into shape a bit better, so that it's not constricting the paint flow. And I'll be vigilant not to re-kink that. There's another kink further down in the hose as well, where somebody has obviously pulled it without unlooping it all. So I will do the same thing on that one. As you can see, this one is actually worse. I'm hoping this is not going to give me grief. If it does, I will go and get a new hose. Because I am quite concerned about this kink, I'm actually going to put a bit of blue line over the top of it, which is quite sloppy on there, but I will tape it to it, and that will just stop it from re-kinking, at least while I'm using it. Because of the nature of the hose, it does tend to get itself into loops, and then if you pull on it, it will kink it. So, you know, if you pull on it without looking at what you're doing. This is the actual paint pump, if you like. So it's a Wagner Control Pro. It's actually the 350M. In the top here, let's do the basics first, is a compartment where you can keep other filters and nozzles, and also the instructions for the spray unit. On the side here, so I will eventually put some paint in a pail down here, and this is the pickup here, and this is the bleed that bleeds back into the paint when you release the trigger.
on the side here there are two positions for this switch, and if you observe carefully, when I rotate this, it actually moves this way as well as rotating. From this angle you can see this control valve here, and I am expecting that when it is in this position that it will bleed paint back down into the paint pail, and when it's in this position it will send paint out the hose. And then the control is obviously here, so 0 is not going and 1 is going, and the more paint you want the more you rotate it around. We'll come back to cleaning later, but let's see if we can actually do something with this.
Because I have not used this machine before, I was initially unsure if I was doing something wrong or if there was a fault with the machine. I tried for several minutes to encourage the machine to suck the paint out of the pail, alas, without success. In hindsight, I should have tried it with a bucket of water first, just to make sure I had my procedures correct. It would have saved a bit of cleanup. In the end, I gave up and put the machine and the paint back in my workshop and headed inside to have some lunch and to consult YouTube University. Prior to going inside, I had upended the machine and removed the inlet fitting to expose the inlet valve, and it all seemed to be as it should be. It took very little research to discover that there was also an outlet valve, sensibly, and it seemed it could be the cause of the issue that I was experiencing.
Here we are on take 2. The issue was that the little spring-loaded ball that is part of the outlet valve was stuck, and so in here there's a very simple valve that involves a seat, a small spring and a ball. It's a one-piece unit, you can't pull it apart, but all it was that the little ball was stuck to the seat, and of course that means that it can't unseat, and so that's why it wasn't sucking. So if I now turn this on, we should see black come up here and then back down there. I need to actually have my finger on the trigger and click the control at the same time. That is looking like pretty consistent paint coming out of there now, so see how we go. Here is the unfinished article. I say unfinished because I know that it will need a second coat, but one coat is on there. It was a little bit problematic with the wind. I didn't want it blowing next door because the clothesline is not too far from the fence up there, and there are clothes on the line. But I have gone all the way down as far as I want to go at this point. That section of fence at the end is going to be redone along with the contour of the ground down there and everything. That'll be done as part of that upper retaining wall. But I'm pleased that I overcame the issues with the sprayer and have now got that figured out, so that was good. You may be wondering why the posts at the top aren't painted. I'm actually going to go and cut them down lower. I did have thoughts of putting a nylon line along there to slow the cats down, but I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to cut those posts back down so you won't actually see those. I think that's it for today, and potentially for this video. We'll see. Bye. I did say it was potentially the end of the video. Saturday dawned fine and clear, and it was forecast to stay that way with a warm northwest wind and a high of 26°C. Celsius, that is. I did have in mind to stain something today, either the second coat on the fence or at least the first coat on the retaining wall. As you can see, I landed on doing the retaining wall. I detached the tap and the fibre box from the wall before I started spraying. I have to say, the airless sprayer is a wonderful thing which makes jobs like this, with the round posts and the nooks and crannies to coat, a much easier task. My system was reasonably straightforward. I did the post first and then the boards. Mostly I did the edge of the capping board first, but not always. Getting underway was much more straightforward this time, as I knew what I was doing, and I had already checked that the sprayer was functioning by running some water through it very briefly. You will see that I went up on the other side of the wall to stain the top board, the capping. It was just a bit too high to try and do it from the driveway side, and I needed to stain the back edge of it anyway. I did vary my system a bit as time went on, depending on how sore my back was. The constant twisting did give it a bit of a workout. I have included a picture of the product I'm using, as I'm also quite impressed with it, and that information may be of use to you. It is a Mitre 10 exclusive, it seems. I did a bit of real-time video at the end here just to get a more realistic understanding of how efficient the sprayer is. If you're wondering why I did the bottom 3 boards and then from the top down, it's because I needed the nozzle set so that I could hold the gun sideways to do the bottom boards. Otherwise the hose hits the ground. It took me a while to work out this, and it was the easiest way to do it. I will circle back around with the finished article close of day clip, but this is definitely the last item for this video. Hopefully you have been entertained, and thank you for your time. It is now near enough to 1 o'clock, and I have finished the first coat. It is done. I have had a few minor issues with the gun, or more specifically with the nozzle and the jet. So I've given them a good clean. I have taken the filter out of the gun, given that a good clean. Hopefully when we come back after lunch to do the second coat, it will be straightforward. I'll come back to you when it's all done, I think. Here we are at the end of the working day, all the work I'm going to do today anyway, of a physical nature. The body is creaking a bit, but the job is done, which is the main thing. Let's have a look. So from there, certainly the second coat made quite a difference to how it looks, which I'm pleased about. And so that is done. I expected that the second coat would take quite a bit less than the first, but that wasn't the case. That doesn't matter, but yeah, interesting. It's certainly, the wood certainly soaks it up. Used probably about 30 litres, I think, in total. So that's it for now. Bye.